This is The Drive with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR, Steelers Nation Radio.
And welcome to The Drive.
Chilly, yeah.
Chilly today.
It's even colder tomorrow.
Woke up this morning, got up, walked out for breakfast, and asked Alexa, what's the weather? What's the temperature outside? And she said, the temperature outside, I have her set up in a British accent.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's, I think, -4 or something.
Was
like
it really?
That. Oh, yeah. It was
wow.
Frigid. But not quite as cold now, but cold enough to walk
cold.
In here, you would know.
At least the sun's out, but I'm not sure it's warming much up.
It's sun's out, and if you get your guns out, you are insane.
Yeah.
Insane. Matt, lots to talk about today on the show.
Okay.
Saw the college football championship last night. Ohio State beating Notre Dame. And Notre Dame made a game of that.
Yeah, I thought it was over, about halfway point there, and they came back strong.
Yep. A lot of good players on the field on both sides of that game. And, we'll be talking more about them as in the coming weeks here as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft. But
might have been a future Steeler playing last night. Who knows?
Perhaps. First things first, though, I wanted to talk about this particular story. And our friend of the show, Jeremy Fowler, on ESPN, went out.
Things he's hearing or something like that?
He polled. This was his after the season, even though the season's not quite over. Predictions on what is going to happen across the NFL.
Yeah. There's a lot of quarterback stuff in there, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Right. And quarterbacks were mentioned, right?
Yeah, quarterbacks were mentioned. And he polls some anonymous GMs, executives, scouts, and that kind of stuff to come up with this stuff. And his number one on this list is that Sam Darnold will be a Raider.
I guess that adds up. They don't have a super great pick to make that happen. They need to make some kind of big move. I think that's understandable. I'd like to know who their head coach is first. Things like that are important.
Well, their hot rumor now is that Pete Carroll
really
is going to be the head coach of the Raiders. That's
wow.
who they've targeted.
Okay. How old is he? I know he's into his 70s.
I think he's a year younger than Belichick. He's like 71.
Is he really? Okay. I thought he was older than that. He gets around a lot better than you would think, but interesting. Okay, that's a culture changer.
Yeah.
There's some head coaching news and a lot of rumblings that were close on some other ones too. I guess that's one of those that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, they could use their draft picks elsewhere. I think Darnold makes sense for them. I would be fine with that.
The second thing on here is that Aaron Rodgers will retire.
I tend to think that's the right move. He had some high points, but the way I understand their schematics and their offense runs is his roots are on the West Coast, but he's like in West Coast version 1.0. Things have changed dramatically, and he hasn't with them. And people know their protections and blitz picks-ups and all their different types of things like that and how to beat that system, and he kind of refuses to change. Plus, he had an injury recently, and his plays dropped off. He has a lot of other interests. I would think moving on is the right move.
The next one on here is indirect. So Dan Graziano, who also is one of their insiders, wrote earlier in the week, I think it might have been over the weekend actually, what he was predicting for some of the things that would happen across the league this year. And he predicted that the Steelers would stick with Russell Wilson.
Did he? I didn't click on his.
Now,
okay.
He was also the guy, I might add, that was saying throughout the course of the season last year that they were going to stick with Justin Fields. Even when Wilson got healthy.
So maybe he's not as inside as most insiders should be.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Or he was hearing the wrong stuff. He was talking to the wrong people. I don't know. But the league executives expect that the Steelers will sign Justin Fields and draft a quarterback.
Okay. I think that's very, very possible. It's not a super expensive move. Done a little more day two homework on some of these quarterbacks and watching the Ohio State kid last night. I'm not real interested in the Notre Dame dude, but outside of round one, there might be some value there too.
There's some guys.
Yeah, right. That are kind of interesting,
So here's what Fowler wrote about this. People around the league are torn what the Steelers should or will do at quarterback. Much like we've talked about.
I'm not sure they know their answer right this second,
The Russell Wilson experiment was not a failure. He showed promise and gave the offense a lift at midseason, but he was signed to help the Steelers in the playoffs where Pittsburgh lost in the first round again. Some executives believe the Steelers could bring back Wilson, but Fields is 25, 11 years younger, and has explosive skill set around which the team could build at least for one more year. One of the NFL scouting, I guess from an NFL scouting director, I still think this could go either way. Part of me feels like they bring back Russell. Either way, I expect them to draft a quarterback fairly high. They need someone who can be the answer long term. The Steelers select number 21 overall in April. Hardly a place to find an elite quarterback in a weaker class.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's
things that we've talked about.
All well said and logical, and I do think there's no one's saying this is what's going to happen. Darnold's going to be a Raider. Rodgers is going to retire. Leaning this way, this is kind of what we're hearing. I think that's probably dead on,
Yeah. But
they may like Wilson better than Fields. I don't know. It's still up in the air.
I don't know how many people he polled here to come up with that part of it, because, as the executive said, they don't know which way.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of gives you an idea of the situation the Steelers are in right now.
Right. The one thing I don't love about that scenario is I don't want to go into this draft having to draft one.
Right.
Which maybe you wouldn't have to. Maybe there's 4 guys who'd be interested in at different levels of the draft. I mean, this guy 4th rounder later, this guy 2nd round. Wow, if he happens to fall in the 1st, I don't even know if that guy exists. But you might need a backup plan. Again, the backup can't be totally empty on draft day either.
Right.
So that's a little sticky.
It is a little sticky, and again, that's going to be the biggest thing that the Steelers have to deal with this offseason.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. Is how do we not only pick the right guy, but what's the best puzzle build in terms of, well, who's going to be the 2 then? And what if he fails? What if who's going to be your quarterback of the future? I'm not sure they're going to have those answers. And I'm not sure we're going to know dead on the day the draft's over either.
Yeah. No, I don't know what the answer is. I have to be honest with you. And, we're not paid to have those answers. We're paid to analyze those answers. But, if that decision were left up to me, I don't know which direction I would go. Again, I don't have all the information that they are privy to in terms of, okay, here's how much salary cap we get. Here's who we think we can get at, at these different spots. Here's the total, pool of quarterbacks who are going to be available. Who do we like where? It's –
again, we'll talk about it more digging into the year, but there are some day 2 quarterbacks that I think, I'll take a chance on him and see what he can do for a year or 2, and maybe you go back to that the year after or a year after that if it's not a hit. I also would imagine they've probably talked to Fields and Wilson's agents about what kind of dollars are you thinking?
Yeah. Well, that's the biggest part of the equation.
Huge. Right,
you just don't know, and you see numbers, tossed around and bandied about. Nobody knows for sure what.
And you're comping them against similar players, but not exact guys. Right.
So until you have those conversations, you really don't know. Everybody's assuming, well, it's Russell Wilson has to have the Baker Mayfield deal. Well, what if he doesn't?
What if he doesn't? Or Fields thinks he's worth $15 million, but we think he's worth 10, and he's not budging off that as of right now. At least wants to test his waters in free agency, which I would understand.
Yeah,
it's not a bad business move.
Yeah,
you don't know.
And somebody may give him that. Somebody might give him if there's multiple bidders. Somebody might give him 20. Who knows? You just don't know until the thing that about free agency is it's not only free for the teams. It's free for the players.
Yeah.
The players get to decide.
Hit the market, right?
They get to decide where they want to go. And if you're a guy that's never done it before, never been through free agency, you might want to see what's out there.
You might, and I don't think that's the case here, but I definitely know that's the case with some free agents. Is I don't really love where I'm at. The grass could be greener in a lot of these situations. Well, I don't love the city. I don't love the organization. I don't love my position coach. Whatever.
There's something to be said too for maybe just wanting to go through the process. I want to go out. I'm a quarterback.
Yeah.
I want to go out. I want to be wined and dined and shown the keys to the city. Here you're going to be our starter. Here's what we think. You want to test the waters.
Or 3 days go by and no one calls. And
right.
It's like, ooh, this isn't so great. It's a little scary too.
Yeah. I mean, Mason Rudolph went through that.
Yeah.
Twice.
Exactly.
The first time the Steelers had an offer on the table for him, and he said, "I want to test free agency." Well, as you get into free agency and nobody calls you, okay, I'll take the offer.
Mm-hmm.
So
No, it's a little bit of a game of chicken, too.
Yeah. The next one here is that the Colts will end an 11-year AFC South drought.
I didn't read further on there. I did look at the headlines. Does that mean they're going to win the division?
I guess that's what that means because, as they say here, Indianapolis has toiled in the middle of the pack for the most of the decade with one playoff win since 2014.
Okay, all right. So I guess they're going to take a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a hard time picking them over Houston.
Not with that quarterback.
Right. I'm saying that's a lot of faith in Richardson right there. I like their coaching move. I mean, I think going to Amarumo on defense is much needed, and I think they can do some.
Again, if it's not a guy like Justin Fields, where do they go at the backup position? They have to have. They re-sign Flacco.
I would not do the Flacco type route. I definitely want a big athlete.
Yeah,
that's the way I would look at it. But I know Houston has a lot of cap issues too. I don't think they have a lot of spending power. Guys like Diggs are up for free agency.
Which is crazy considering Stroud's still on his rookie deal.
I know. They spent a lot.
They spent a lot.
Yeah, they went all in kind of last year. Diggs is up. Dell's coming off a big injury. They have O-line stuff. I mean, I could see where you'd think Texans aren't the best team in that division.
And the Jaguars and Titans are.
The Titans definitely aren't. And I don't think – I mean, maybe it's just kind of by default is what they're going with. But, I don't know. That's not super bold to me.
Jaden Daniels will make an MVP run.
Probably. I mean, I think
I can see Washington next year being that team, though, that takes a step back.
I was to say, they scream plexiglass principle to me, too. I mean, as big a step forward as any team's really taken in NFL history. And I know they'll continue to add to their roster. They have resources, too.
Here's their problem,
but people are going to figure them out a little bit, too.
A lot of the guys that they signed this offseason were old.
Oh, on purpose, right.
They wanted a bunch of culture guys. Well,
right.
These guys are all a year older now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Bobby Wagner's not getting any younger. Ertz isn't getting any younger. Yeah, those guys are old.
Yep. And it was a lot of change, and that's good. But I also think the Eagles and Cowboys and Giants will have a better beat on Daniels and the Commanders as a whole. Success isn't linear. I mean,
it is not.
We thought the exact same thing about – I mean, Stroud was almost as hot this time last year as Daniels is.
People were talking about him. He's the best rookie quarterback ever.
Mm-hmm.
And now you read the stories. Jaden Daniels is having the best rookie season a quarterback has ever had.
Yeah.
Like we
maybe he's the next one.
We like to throw around things like that.
Stroud. Yeah.
Like somebody today tweeted out that the Ohio State running back tandem was the best one that's ever been in college football history. I'm like, are you kidding?
That's crazy. You know, like the years with the Browns, it was Cadillac and Ronnie Brown. They went like third and fourth in the draft.
Reggie Bush and Lendell White were pretty good at USC.
Franco and Lido Mitchell, like Jim Brown and me and you.
Tony Dorsett and whoever.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Barry Sanders and
wasn't Thurman Thomas?
Thurman Thomas were in the same backfield. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Let's not crown these.
It's not even close.
There's always a recency bias with that stuff. Of course. Which is kind of my point.
There's not even a first-round pick in that backfield. It's a good group, but come on. That's not even close.
No. The Bears will sign Trey Smith in free agency.
I could definitely see that. I mean, I think we knew. Did we know last drive yesterday that he had taken the job?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure they're going to get linemen. Yeah, I mean, coming from Detroit, as void as they are, they have a ton of cap space. I'm sure they're going to go out and spend big on linemen. He's going to be like $20 million. Yeah, right.
Somebody's going to overpay for him.
Real quick on Trey Smith. I'm just curious, and I'm hoping this isn't the case, but he was not a top 50 pick because of long-term medical things that were found at the combine.
He was a 6th-round pick.
Yeah, and I forget what it was.
It was a heart issue.
I thought it was a heart or it was something with an organ that probably hasn't gotten better, unfortunately. Right, so
you're just monitoring it.
Right. It's not an ACL that got better or a broken bone or something like that. Right. I mean, so I wonder if that affects his purchasing power.
The Vikings and Dolphins will take slight step backs in 25. The Dolphins take a slight step back. They're in trouble.
That could be fired time, right?
Yeah.
I don't think either one has great resources. I know the Vikings are at the bottom of the list. They don't have any day 2 picks. They traded up for McCarthy. Probably going to have a new starting quarterback, which will go as well. I mean, what Darnold throw, like 30-some touchdowns?
Yeah.
Probably be less than that. Will Flores be there? I could definitely see them going backwards. I don't know about Miami, though. Miami had some bad luck.
It's some bad luck, but they got a year older.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, Tyreek could be gone. Probably will be gone.
Armstead's a year older. Like they're
like he could retire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they got some issues there.
They do.
DK Metcalf will be traded from the Seahawks to the Chargers.
I saw it. I like that. I mean, I think he could go. I mean, numerous teams could be interested. Steelers could call about him. Who knows? But I could see him being on the block. They're really tight against the cap.
Tyreek Hill will be traded from the Dolphins to the Patriots. I don't see that happening.
I don't see that either. I think that'd be a bad move for New England.
I think it would be a bad move for Miami because you don't trade a guy like that within the division.
Within the division. I mean, he kind of, I don't say moaned and cried, but he complained the first year that he wasn't like in Super Bowl contention.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to go to the team that's picking second overall with a bunch of backups? I mean, you think he's going to be happy there?
Yeah. I don't know if he has a no-trade clause or if he has...
I think he has some say in it.
And he say where he goes, I can't imagine him wanting to go to New England.
No. And if I'm New England, I'm not going for an older receiver. I mean, they have the most cap space in the league. I'd go after somebody that's cheaper and younger. Or not cheaper, even younger.
Yeah. I mean, it's not expensive to acquire him. Mm-mm. Now, he's probably going to, whoever trades for him, he's probably going to want a new deal again.
I think so. I mean, frankly, Tyreek to the Chargers and Metcalf to the Patriots might make more sense the other way around.
Yeah. So,
But there could be receivers moving.
Yeah.
Trade.
That's what the executives were telling Jeremy Fowler. Again, not a slam dunk in the voting that the Steelers would go with Justin Fields over Russell Wilson. And again, it's a lot of the reasoning that we've talked about. I don't envy Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan having to make that decision.
There's strong arguments pro and con, both players, and none of them are glaring. I mean, like, they're strong. There's a big case to be made for both, but I don't know that if I'm the judge and I'm not going to make the decision, that'd be a tough ruling.
Yeah.
A really tough ruling.
Absolutely.
Do you think there's any chance that they both return? It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. Again, we don't know. We don't know what the money is. We have no idea. None. Like,
if you didn't listen to yesterday, we had a really good segment of just the money they can create, and they have a lot of flexibility.
Like, even
you want to use
if you look at the top free agents available on like Pro Football Talk or whatever, or Pro Football Focus, I should say.
Yeah.
And they have all the comps for all the different guys on there.
Yeah.
They have no comp for Russell Wilson because, as they say on there, there's no situation like this where a guy who's been a franchise quarterback is available.
It's nothing like Kirk Cousins a year ago.
No.
I mean, Cousins was coming off a much better year, and he was also injured at the time.
Also coming off an injury.
Right. I mean, it's not the same.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't know what that money is going to look like. I have no idea.
And I don't know.
I don't know what Fields' money is going to look like.
I don't know how many teams would be interested in either one either.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're both going to be in the NFL next year if they want to be. I'm not saying that, but are you competing against 3 teams, 1 team, none? Do they have any interest in going to the other team? I don't know.
Yeah. So that's all things that have to be sorted out here before over the next month or so.
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty good timeline.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with more right after this. Welcome back. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson, and this is The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. And Matt, on the 33rd team today, Tyler Brook, who's one of their NFL analysts, came up with 5 trade ideas for potential contenders.
Okay. That must have come out later in the day. I missed that.
For next year. And one of these involves the Steelers.
It does.
So let's go ahead and look through these here real quick. We'll save the Steeler one for last because I want to talk about that one a lot. First one is...
Keep all of you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah, absolutely. Max Crosby. 2.
I can see that happen.
The Green Bay Packers for a 2025 second-round pick and a 2026 third-round pick.
Who says no? If I'm the Packers, I say yes. I think the Packers' number one need is finding a star. I don't care if it's a receiver or a tight end. Oh, I like their tight ends. A pass rusher, a shutdown corner. Give me some difference maker that changes the tilt of the game.
Yeah.
And he's perfect. I mean, now, if we rewind 20 minutes to segment 1 and you're going in on Darnold, are you buying
trading
or selling
away your
this
other
year?
best?
Right, yeah. I mean, these are 2 different websites talking 2 different worlds.
Right.
But if I'm the Raiders and I can get that kind of haul for Crosby, I'm probably in.
You played pretty well down the stretch without him.
You did, right. I mean,
different coaching staff.
Staff, right. But you also get Wilkins back, too, and they kind of overachieved on that side of the ball. I kind of want a 1, though. I mean, is a 2 and a 3 enough? I mean, if I say, how about a 1 and a 5?
Where that 3 has to be conditional. Like if he makes if he's makes the Pro Bowl or whatever, he's all pro, then that bumps up to a 2. 2 2s might do it for you.
Were they saying 26?
Yeah.
I want something in this draft.
Well, we got the second is in this year.
Okay.
So,
that's not bad then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that make it 2 2s and we'll talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Then they need all the picks they can get.
Kenyon Green to the Chicago Bears. The Bears receive Kenyon Green. The Texans receive 2025 7th-round draft pick. That doesn't move the needle.
I'd say you're not going to get much for him, but 7th-round pick. I'd give you a 7th-round pick for him. I mean, he's been bad. He's a former first-round pick, so his contract isn't nothing, even though it's a rookie deal. I think it's up after this year. No chance anyone's going to pick up a 5th-year option. But a 7th-round pick for a former first-round pick? Sure.
Yeah.
But, again, if we rewind a segment, I think go and sign Trey Smith makes more sense for you have one of the most cap space in the league as opposed to grabbing.
You could do both.
You could do both, right.
DK Metcalf to the Los Angeles Chargers.
Why are they linking those?
Metcalf and a 2025 6th-round pick. The Seahawks receive a 2025 3rd-round pick. Now, if that were the cost,
I might be able to do better than that, right? Yeah. Interesting. So I was sitting here thinking, what's the link between the Seahawks and the Chargers, except for the Chargers need a receiver, obviously, but they're not the only team out there that need it. He's certainly different than McConkey. Downfield guy for Herbert's big arm. But their defensive coordinator worked for the Harbaughs.
Yeah.
That's the link. Okay, it took me a second. I mean, their head coach worked for the Harbaughs. I mean, so he's in the circle of trust. I'm cool with that. I mean, I think you get more for DK. He's got a decent contract. He's volatile. They have really bad cap issues, too.
Really bad.
And they need things. I mean, there's been talk that Geno Smith could be on the move just for cap reasons. Would that interest you as the Steelers? If it's a deal like this, like a 3rd-round pick for Geno, I think it's an upgrade. Seattle's in a weird spot.
Yeah, I can't see them trading away their quarterback when they don't have one in the building that's capable.
They'd have to draft one, right?
Yeah.
And they're not going to go to Howe.
No.
And take a big step backwards.
No.
But I can see Metcalf being on the move. Would you make that move if you're the Steelers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
Now, you don't have a 6th-round pick. That's the...
Yeah, call it a 5 or, whatever.
I
mean,
or just don't...
not have the 6th-round pick. Would you give a 2nd for Metcalf? I have to look into his contract. Is he up? Does he have to...
It's a pretty good amount of money. I mean,
I think it's a good buck, and he's going to want an extension, too.
That's
the issue. Now, I think I would lean more so if it's Wilson.
Right.
Because of the downfield deep ball stuff.
Well, and they have a relationship.
And they know each other.
Yeah.
Lockett's going to get cut. You get him for nothing, speaking of Seattle receivers. But
Metcalf's $18 million this year.
Is it up, though, after this year?
After this year,
I think he's going to
So you're
going to
have to extend him.
You're going to extend him. That's the thing, and he's going to want
he'll
24
he'll be 28 this year. That's not...
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a bad target for the Steelers. Now, I think it has to be said, Metcalf and Pickens on the field together could be the
Hold your tongue here. Hold
the
your tongue.
most volatile thing ever.
All
right.
We're going to get to that.
Volatility.
Tyrann Mathieu to the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts receive Mathieu. The Saints get a 6th-round pick in 2025.
I think the Saints will move some of their old dudes.
Yeah.
DeMario Davis.
He is way overpaid for
Jordan.
what he brings to the table at this point.
Right. They're more names. They're older. They're good in the room. I bet he doesn't want to leave. He's from
Probably
Louisiana,
not. He's from there,
LSU, and all that. But Amarumo could use a versatile leader safety.
He's also 32 years old.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was for a 6th-round pick, though. I mean, it's just a salary cap dump. Yeah.
And the final one on here is George Pickens to the Washington Commanders.
Okay.
For a 2nd-round pick.
I've thought about this, and it's a tough decision of do you give him money now or not, because it wouldn't be small amount. Love his talent, don't love his consistency. And there's things about the personality today that are worrisome. Now, I would consider it if I had Metcalf, if I had Adams, if I had somebody else.
Well, that's the thing. If you're the Steelers making this move, and here's his reasoning for this. It might be time for the Pittsburgh Steelers to move on from George Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to the on-field antics and off-field comments, the Steelers simply don't have the offensive firepower to keep trying to be a contender right now.
See,
throw that out the window. That's horse crap.
So you should just roll with Austin and Wilson.
Right. Yeah. So we're just going to trade away all of our pieces and
Skoronek's going to be your number one receiver.
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Right. That's not. They're going to try to upgrade at that position.
That's not based in reality.
No, they're not going to dump him for picks in 2027.
No.
And hope that they find receivers.
But if somebody were, if you could get a second-round pick for George Pickens from the Chargers, from the Commanders, from one of these teams that are obviously need an upgrade, to your point, you better have something in place. You better be getting T. Higgins in free agency. You better be
Godwin, Adams, a DK Metcalf trade. I mean, somebody that's making money that I can throw the ball to a lot every week.
That I feel better about giving money to.
And maybe my first-round pick played last night in Ohio State. And like, I still want my receiver.
I'm still going to have
better.
to draft one.
Right, and probably higher. But then I'm staggering their ages a little bit better and eliminating a potential headache of, what the contract status is going to be. I mean, you could also franchise him. Maybe he loses his mind if you franchise him. I don't know, but he's going to play. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to be in the building. I don't get the impression he's this terrible human being, though.
I just he just may have reached his expiration point. I don't know this for a fact. I don't know.
We've seen other receivers here reach their expiration point.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not the first time this has happened.
I mean, at this point, if you're the Steelers, you look at this and go, "Do we want to? Is this the guy that we want to pay? Give a second contract to?" And if we don't,
and it's going to be $20 million. I mean, it's going to be bigger than that Metcalf.
If we don't want to give him the second contract,
you have to trade him now.
Because at best, you're going to get back a third-round draft pick for him as a compensatory pick.
And that's a year from now and it's down the road and all that kind of stuff.
And I don't know how George Pickens responds to not getting a contract before the season.
Or being a lame duck or whatever. Now, next season could go poorly and you trade him at the trade deadline. I mean, that could be your point of no return where you still get something good for him if things are going poorly to start the year. But what if you're in it, So another wrinkle that I was thinking about with this whole situation.
They're never going to be a team. They would
be 1-5.
They were 2-6 in 2013, whatever year it was. 2-6 at the trade deadline. And everybody, we got to cut bait. They didn't cut bait. They finished 8-8. They're never going to be that team that just starts selling off pieces.
He would be different. I'm not saying they'd sell like Watt and Hayward. I'm just saying if he's up at the end of the year, that would be your last chance.
But you build your team. You build your team to build your team. Mm-hmm. Like you're not just going to say, "We're going to trade this guy away and go with what we got."
Let me throw something small by you too, because I don't know if there's room for him if you're building a roster today. But this whole Pickens situation makes me want to re-sign Mike Williams more. Small money. I mean, just to have him around. If you move Pickens, it makes it a little easier. It's just a little easier. It's a small thing,
Or sign somebody of that ilk.
Well, I think you do that too. I mean,
well, I'm saying you could get guys like Mike Williams.
It doesn't have to be him in particular, but right. I'm a big ball winner.
Yeah, you don't.
Right.
I mean, there are going to be guys out there that do those kind of things that,
not as well as George. I mean, he's ridiculous at it, but right. Or I mean, you have to know where he's at. I don't think it's insane to think he could get traded. I'd also like to add some kind of more draft picks.
Yeah.
And I don't know who else you could turn that into more draft capital in this draft.
Well, let's say instead of DK Metcalf to the Chargers.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And you get
if you get DK for a third and you can get a second for Pickens, I think I would do that right now.
You've swapped out that and you've gained a draft pick.
Right. I think I'm in on that. If that's more or less what the deal is.
Yeah.
You're paying one of the two now or real soon.
Even if I had to do that and trade away my 5th round draft pick.
Yeah, that's fine. or a future fifth or whatever. Right. To make that swap, yes, because I can easily afford Metcalf. I don't know that I can get Higgins. I don't know that I can get Godwin.
You don't know you're going to get any of those guys. It's free agency. They can sign wherever the hell they want.
And some teams have massive needs and massive pockets, too. Yeah, something like that really interests me.
Yeah, so...
And I'm still drafting one probably in the top 3 rounds at a minimum.
Yeah.
With size.
If I were, again, I'm with you, though. If I'm going to make that deal and go get DK Metcalf, I'm keeping Russell Wilson.
Preferably. I mean, it doesn't mean it's more attractive with Wilson. Because I think you already made your deal with Fields. I mean, you already made your mind up first. Fields is a guy no matter what. If I did pick Fields first, it wouldn't prohibit me from making the Metcalf trade.
Here's the thing with any
Wilson,
of these,
I prefer it
because the Seahawks are up against the salary cap.
Right.
They're going to have to make moves like this before the new league year begins.
Yeah, I guess these are going to happen before free agency for the
right. Because they got to get under the cap, and if they're going to get under, it's either that or they got to start cutting people. And they're not going to want to have to cut people until they have to cut people if they can make a move like this.
Which probably means you get them at a slighter discount too. The earlier you do it. Yeah. I mean, I can go into the new league year with Metcalf and Pickens on my team.
Yeah.
I can go into week 1 with them and throw them a lot of balls. You know what I mean?
But to your point, they are both volatile the field guys.
Get a little crazy, yeah. Metcalf,
and they're very similar style of players in terms of what they do for you.
They are. I mean, like, it's a little redundant.
Now, the fly in the ointment here is, what if Pete Carroll does become the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders? Does Pete Carroll, who drafted DK Metcalf in Seattle, say, hey, if he's available, I want him?
Right. Maybe. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not the only team that wants him.
Right. That's the thing.
I'm sure the Chargers, we've talked about. I mean, I think there's plenty of people that could get one DK Metcalf.
So what if you had to give up your 2 to go get DK Metcalf? Then you'd have to get a 2 back for Pickens.
I tend to think Pickens is more valuable than Metcalf.
Yeah, he's cheaper.
He's younger
and
he's cheaper for a year.
Yeah.
I think he's actually more talented, too. You know,
in the grand scheme of things, I agree.
Yeah. You know, if I was Washington and I could pick one of the 2, I would take Pickens. Maybe you can get a little more of that.
Washington would make some.
It's going to be late though.
Washington would make some sense in this this point. They have Terry McLaurin there, who can be the adult in the room with George Pickens.
Yeah, big time. And their ages are greatly staggered. Yeah. Right.
Whereas George Pickens, to say the Chargers, wouldn't make as much sense.
No,
because your top guy right now is Lad McConkey. Now, they did play together at Georgia.
True.
But, how does that mix together?
I'd still want a veteran if I was Harbaugh.
Yeah.
And somebody that's been around the block that I can trust. Robert Woods even. I mean, somebody that's been around, that I could count on.
Well, Keenan Allen's rumored to want to go back there, too.
He's another free agent.
Yeah. But he also plays a slot like Lad McConkey.
Yeah. There's a lot of musical chairs there. But I do think Metcalf has a really good chance to get moved.
Yeah. So, I do think that it has to happen before the new league year unless they're willing to start cutting other guys.
There's 3 or 4 really cash-strapped teams. And I know he's coming off concussions, but what about like a Olave? I mean, if you can get a first-round player for 3rd, okay. If your doctors check him out. There's 3 or 4 teams that are really in bad cash situation right now.
So right now, I'm looking on Spot Track. The Saints are $50 million over the cap.
Yeah, they're worst.
The Browns are $26.8 million over the cap. Seattle is $23.4 million over the cap.
Miami's close too.
$14 million over the cap. Atlanta is $6.3 million. Dallas is basically right at the cap at minus 973.
So that leaves Metcalf.
Buffalo's minus 1.5.
Metcalf, Hill, and Olave is the only potential targets from those teams.
But as we showed you yesterday, was it yesterday when we went through the Steelers salary cap situation? Those teams all have the same.
They know they're over.
Things in place that they can trigger some things.
They're gonna, but they probably know Hill won't be back and Metcalf won't be back though.
Yeah,
and so does everybody. But who gives you the best deal?
Right. That's the thing here. So right now, Geno Smith for them is $44.5 million.
I know. That's why he's been rumored.
But they just gave him a new deal, so I'm sure they can create some cap space with him.
Who are their other big hits? I'm sure Leonard Williams
Metcalf counts
$31.8
million against their cap. Tyler Lockett is $30.9 million. He's getting cut.
I mean, you could pick him up cheap, too.
Yeah.
I don't think he's your answer. But
no.
He could be your adult in the room.
Leonard Williams is $29.1.
Off a great year.
Draymond Jones is $25.6. Uchenna Nwosu is $21.3.
Ouch.
Yeah.
They got to rebuild no line.
Noah Fant is $13.5. And then Devin Witherspoon's still a rookie, but he counts 8.7.
Early pick.
Yeah. So
I mean, he's not going
they got
anywhere.
some big numbers there.
Be shocked if Metcalf comes back. The more I think through this,
$31.9 million basically.
Right.
That's a big, and his base is only
Smith and Jigba passed him on the pecking order. They're in trouble. Yeah.
So
and everybody knows it. So you're not going to give him a first for him.
No.
3rd and a 5. Swap Pickens for a 2 and a 5.
Trade him Pickens.
That's right.
Here you go.
They can deal with it, right?
Yeah. So just something to throw out there. Again, not advocating one way or the other.
No, but these things have to be all considered. Everybody's,
It's something that, if you're not going to re-sign him,
now's the time to move him.
now's the time to move him.
Yeah. That's the way it has to work.
Yep, absolutely.
If you're going to resign him, then resign him now.
Let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with more right after this. Welcome back. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And, Matt, the Senior Bowl practices will kick off a week from today.
Nice.
And I was asked on the message board over the weekend why we talk about the Senior Bowl and we don't talk about the East-West Shrine Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
it's not a bad question.
It's not a bad question, but here's why.
Yeah.
The Steelers last year, first of all, by the end of the 2024 NFL Draft, there had been 110 players who participated in the 2024 Senior Bowl who were drafted.
From what was the number? From
110.
From what point?
Who played in the Senior Bowl last year.
Oh, okay.
They were at the Senior Bowl last year. 110 of them.
Yeah.
That's basically everybody.
That's basically the whole roster, right? Yeah.
Of that,
maybe one of the long snappers wasn't or whatever.
Something like that, yeah. Of that group, the Steelers' top 4 picks all played in the Senior Bowl last year.
Mm-hmm.
Not a coincidence.
Right.
Mike Tomlin goes to the Senior Bowl.
Boots on the ground. Yeah.
Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan are at the Senior Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
So, yes, we're going to talk more about the Senior Bowl than we do the Shrine Bowl.
People might not know this. That's why I think it's a good question. I mean, there used to be a handful. Like, I went to the Hula Bowl when I was with the Browns.
Yeah.
And there were a high percentage of those guys were drafted, but it's nothing like the Senior Bowl. The Senior Bowl is the king.
Yeah. Now, the Shrine Bowl is trying to push into that. They're trying to.
They're number 2.
They're number 2, and they're getting. They got some good players there.
Shedeur Sanders is going this year. I mean, like, they're going to have a top 5 type of pick. I think he's doing that so he makes it easier on himself. I mean, that's a kind of a marketing ploy, to be honest with you.
And he's going to Jerry World. That might have something to do with it, too.
They
play in Dallas.
And a high percentage of those guys will be in camps for sure, and a lot will get drafted too.
But the Senior Bowl is the higher profile game.
It just absolutely is.
Yeah.
Like you said, almost all those guys will be in a camp. All of them will be picked. Their average draft position will be way higher than East-West. But I don't know exactly what the Steelers do. There's going to be a ton of scouts at the East-West Shrine game, of course.
They scout the Shrine Bowl.
Oh, of course, right.
But
I mean, it's a huge event, but the Senior Bowl is the event.
Yeah. Looking here, actually, while we're talking about the Shrine Bowl, this, according to James Foster, some players who could see their stock improve while at the Shrine Bowl practices. One is Braden Swinson. He's an edge rusher out of LSU.
Okay. I'm not going to know many of these names. I mean,
Yeah. Another is linebacker Chris Paul from Ole Miss.
Okay. It's definitely a good forum. I mean, they structure it the same way.
Absolutely.
You're still doing one-on-ones. You're doing big guys versus big guys in one end zone while receivers and corners are going one-on-one man coverage. So there's a ton to gain from it. But they're just not the same.
They're not the same level of prospect.
It's just not the same level.
I can give you where they have these guys ranked in their prospects for
they're
the
probably
overall
like
draft.
fifth rounders. Right.
So Swinson, his overall ranking is 72.
Amongst all players.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's probably one of the higher profile dudes there.
Paul is 103.
Yeah. These are mid-round picks.
Yeah. Defensive lineman Jordan Phillips from Maryland. He is a defensive tackle kind of guy. His consensus ranking is 220.
Okay. Like, for example, Maryland has a receiver I kind of like. He's going to Senior Bowl.
He's going to the Senior Bowl.
The 220 D tackle goes to the East West Shrine.
Yeah. Defensive lineman C.J. West from Indiana. He's another big body defensive tackle type, kind of a nose tackle, and his consensus ranking is 195.
Yeah, right. I mean,
but he's somebody you keep an eye on.
Oh yeah, he's going to be on every draft board.
Yeah,
right. You may have him in for a visit. I mean, these guys. This isn't a junk game.
No, absolutely
it's an honor
not.
to go to this game.
Yeah,
right.
sure. Cornerback Kobe Bryant from Kansas.
There's a lot of Kobe Bryant's popping up, by the way.
Yeah. But he's a guy that I've looked at different spots. He's just he's got the length, but he's a little light.
And is he leaner? Yeah.
But he had 13 career interceptions, so he gets
he's on everyone's radar. I mean, every one of these games is on everyone's radar.
Yeah. Offensive tackle. We drafted him the other day. Brandon Crenshaw Dixon from Florida.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They're comping his guys on here to comp them to. He calls them to Morgan Moses. Okay.
Right. If you're in that mold, that's great.
His consensus ranking is 273.
The other thing that happens, folks, is people will back out of the Senior Bowl or pull a hamstring on Tuesday or not be comfortable.
For example, if you're like both the quarterbacks who played in the national championship game last night are scheduled to go to the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
Are they both going to go, having just played football for the last 4 weeks?
Probably not. So they're going to back out, and
somebody else will go.
Usually someone from the Shrine game that does well this week gets called up to the Senior Bowl.
Right. Some of those quarterbacks.
And a lot of the scouts never even go home. They just go from this game to the next
straight
game.
To that. Cornerback Zaw Frazier from UTSA, and his consensus ranking is 231.
Yeah. I mean, these are, again, I bet 95% of these guys end up in a camp.
Yeah.
And maybe 50 to 60% are drafted. But there won't be many top 50 picks. Yeah. Probably none.
Quarterback Max Brosmer from Minnesota. His consensus ranking is 309. Although they have him, these are their rankings. They have him at number 8 on their board. Compare him to
Cooper. Quarterback.
Yeah, compare him to Cooper Rush.
I mean, those are the type of comps you're going to get at these games.
Yeah.
Like long-term backup, sturdy, steady, blah, 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 does have the biggest arm.
Late round draft pick.
Right.
Again, and these are guys who could shoot up draft boards.
Mm-hmm. 5 of these guys will go to the combine and test way better than you thought. And like, boy, Andy was really impressive at the Shrine game. And I'm going to go back and watch his Week 5 tape against Georgia that I didn't watch yet. And he's better than I thought.
But even like you sent me last week a thing with the top prospects at each position for the Shrine game and the Senior Bowl.
Mm-hmm. It's not close.
There are some players who go to the Shrine game, and okay, I get it. That are good, high end prospects, including Shedeur Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
But
which is just a marketing.
Yeah,
you're right.
But the Senior Bowl gets more.
Because I guarantee you, the folks that are going to the Senior Bowl also got invited to the Shrine game, and they're not going to do both.
You can't.
You're not going to beat yourself up for 2 weeks. So you always pick the Senior Bowl, unless you're Sanders for whatever reason he's doing it.
Yeah.
But no, they're not the same game. But I'm glad somebody asked us, though, because if you don't do this for a living, you might think, oh, what's the difference? Like, I'm not even sure if the Shrine, I think they televise the Shrine game. Well, the game they do. I can't remember if practices.
The practices, I don't believe, not as much as.
I mean, the Senior Bowls are
everything.
Is everything.
Every practice,
and I watch every second of it if I'm not there, and I will when I get back from there. I mean, it's kind of like watching the combine. It's well, received.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of first round picks on the field.
Absolutely, 10 last year.
Was there 10 last year? Bowl. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was 35 guys who were drafted in the second and third rounds.
Adds up. That's a good group. Jim Nagy's done a really good job.
You had 45 guys who were drafted in the first 3 rounds out of the Senior Bowl. That's why you talk more about the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, right, because it's the better honor.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah. So, anyways, I just wanted to explain
good to clarify.
that. Anyway, let's get to a break here. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. That's going to do it for hour number 1 of the drive. When we come back, we mentioned this yesterday, we're going to do a mock draft based on Justin Fields being our quarterback moving forward. See if that changes anything that we do here. We'll do that.
I like it.
Right after this. And welcome back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And, as we promised yesterday, we would do a mock draft today, working off the basis that we're moving forward with Justin Fields at the quarterback position. How does that change your thinking?
Not a ton. I mean, I would put a slightly less emphasis on running back, but you still need one, and you're not going to ignore it. Does it put a little bit more emphasis on defense for you? Play a little lower scoring, grind the clock?
A little bit.
Maybe a little bit, right. I mean, try to get teams off the field, create turnovers, create a little more splash to help the younger quarterback. Maybe a little bit, just like breaks ties that way.
Yeah, I agree.
And in either case, though, I'm open to drafting the right quarterback, though, at the right price,
Right. We're using, of course, as we did yesterday, the ProFootballNetwork.com mock drafter, and we're picking 21st, as is the case here. And so we're coming down to our pick here. And let's see what happens here. There's a guy falling right now that shouldn't be falling.
That's
he just went. Okay.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. All right, so we got trade offers, as we usually do. 3 of them. Tampa Bay, once again, we're not interested in Tampa Bay because
that's too far.
You're trying to trade us your second-round draft pick. No, thank you. Reject that. Philadelphia wants to give us pick 31, pick 63, and the 2026 fifth-round draft pick for pick 21.
Doesn't sound bad.
I would consider that.
I would strongly consider that, yeah. Especially if we're on the fence between who to take.
Want more picks?
Maybe we could even talk him into a 4th instead of a 5th.
San Francisco wants to give us $43.99 in next year's second-round draft pick.
It's really far.
Yeah, that's too far.
We'll do that in a month from now.
Consider the 31st pick, but I want to see who's available.
No question.
So, Tyler Warren, who we took yesterday, there.
Okay.
Jalen Walker, linebacker out of Georgia. Benjamin Morrison, cornerback out of Notre Dame. Derek Harmon, defensive tackle from Oregon. Nick Emuari, safety out of South Carolina. Josh Simmons, offensive tackle from Ohio State. Tyleik Williams, defensive tackle from Ohio State. Walter Nolan, defensive tackle from Ole Miss. Jonas Sivania, offensive tackle from Arizona. Jade Barron, the safety from Texas. Mike Green, the edge rusher out of Marshall. Trey Amos, the cornerback out of Ole Miss.
Okay, so it brings up a little bit of a different angle to me in that now it's Fields, not Wilson. I think Fields is more prone to throw to the middle of the field, less likely to throw go balls, Back to our tight end conversation from last year, or from yesterday, would you be more apt to go for Warren if you had Fields or if you had Wilson? Like, is he more attractive to you one way or the other? Not versus the field, just like, would you consider a difference-making tight end more so, going to run more, heavier personnel, maybe throw the middle of the field more?
See, I don't know that he does.
I don't either. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. We took him yesterday. I think you trade down.
I think you trade down too.
Yeah, and plus it would be a little different instead of taking the same guy.
Yeah. Let's see if we can counter that and get something more.
I say try to turn the 5th into a 4th.
So 31 and 63 would give us 31, 52, 63, 83. I like that.
Oh, that's the part I'm loving. That.
Yeah. Can I turn
dump a 7th and try to turn a 5 into a 4? Always good to dump a 7th.
Actually, they have pick 165. We'll see if we can get that.
All right.
So that would be 3 picks for 2. So I'm offering 21 and 237 for 31, 63, and 165.
Instead of next year's.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot for them to give up in one draft, but we can always come back to the next year routine.
They accepted it.
All right, great. It's a pretty far jump down.
They came up to take Walter Nolan.
Wow. Pretty good group of defensive tackles.
Yeah.
Milton Williams is a free agent.
Milton Williams is a free agent. Trey Amos just went.
That would have been a nice target, too. He's a corner, and people will be linked to the Steelers a lot.
Yeah. I'm going to reject both offers that we got here because they're both trading out of the first round. Mm-hmm. Top guys available. Derek Harmon, defensive tackle out of Oregon. I don't know if he's a first-rounder.
I don't either. Need to do more work on him. I see the allure, but the little I watched him, I was not blown away.
Nick Anamawari, the safety out of South Carolina.
I heard he's going to test like
he's
a crazy
He's
person.
like 6'3", 227.
Yeah,
and he plays the slot.
He does everything.
He does everything, yeah. Xavier Watts, a safety out of Notre Dame. Somebody wants to turn Anamawari into a linebacker again. Like we've seen
Maybe they think he's a Cal Hamilton type.
Jihad Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama. Harold Fannin, the tight end from Bowling Green. Shamar Stewart, edge rusher out of Texas A&M. Omarion Hampton, running back out of North Carolina.
I'd be more prone to do that now that we have extra picks.
Yeah. Trey Harris, wide receiver out of Ole Miss. Xavier Restrepo, wide receiver from Miami. Landon Jackson. Kenneth Grant is there. Princely Umanamalen, edge rusher at Ole Miss. Deone Walker, I should say. Caleb Johnson.
I like there's two of those noses, Walker and Grant, that are still out there. I think I'd probably go with the running back.
Omarion Hampton. Yeah, I think I would too. Swing for the fence there.
Yeah, I mean, a home run hitter that can do all that. Just playmakers on offense. If we hadn't made the trade, I wouldn't. Just because now you have an extra day 2 pick, though. You can still go receiver, corner, nose.
Yeah.
And fill your needs with all, day 2.
But, Matt, you never take running backs in the first round. They don't.
And, frankly, I'm mostly a believer in that. I mean, I think they're the cherry on top.
Here's the thing. The 31st pick in the draft
is a little different.
Is there really any difference between taking Omarion Hampton at pick 31 and the Browns taking Nick Chubb with the first pick of the second round 5 years ago?
Zero, except you have a 5th-year option.
You got a 5th-year option.
Right,
That's
which is a nice perk.
Yeah, it's the only difference.
I think you do it.
Omarion Hampton.
You're going to run the ball a lot.
Yeah.
And now you have 3 ball carriers that are scary with Fields. I mean, we're talking about Fields as a runner now, too.
Yeah. And
I said I was going to be less apt to take a running back, but he's the best player on the board.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to pause here just for a minute. We're at pick 46. We have our first pick at pick 52.
Okay.
The top guys available. Landon Jackson. I don't know if he fits defense here.
I don't know what you do with him.
Kenneth Grant is still there.
Very appealing.
Princely Umanale. Yeah, I can't pronounce his name. Umanale.
Prince U.
Yeah. There you go. Prince U. Ole Miss. Ariante Ursary from Minnesota, the offensive tackle. Jalen Milroe, quarterback from Alabama. JT Tuimoloau, edge rusher out of Ohio State. Jackson Dart is there. Emory Jones, Barrett Carter, Donovan Ezeraku, the edge rusher out of BC. Isaiah Bond, Kyle Kennard, TJ Sanders. There's some guys there I'm interested in. There's one guy in particular, and
Milroe.
Yeah.
Where did you pause it?
We're at pick 46. So the next teams up are Atlanta. Atlanta's not going to take him. Arizona's not going to take him.
Unlikely.
San Francisco.
I don't think he's I don't know how much this software does, or these sites dig into it, but he's not a Shanahan type of player.
Right. The Bengals, they're not taking him.
No.
The Seahawks.
They absolutely could.
They could. Denver, they're not taking him. So we roll the dice?
Yeah, because I think if you lose and you end up with Grant, I'm happy.
Yeah.
The receiver from Texas, Golden, that we discussed and almost took yesterday, but we took Grant because they both shouldn't have been there. I assume he's still available.
There's somebody else out there that I'm interested in, too. Andrew Makuba, the safety from Texas.
Okay, yeah. He makes a lot of plays.
He's a slot.
Yeah. He's just a good football player,
Yeah.
too. I mean, I'm not saying he's Branch, but he kind of has that profile to him. I think you just wait.
Okay, I'm with you.
I mean, there's enough names there that
Another guy that I would have been interested in was TJ Sanders. He just went. Jalen Milroe goes to the Seahawks.
One pick. And maybe in the real world we'd have bumped over those guys.
Maybe. Now Seattle wants to make a trade with us. No, thank you, guys. Unless you want to give, if you want to give us
Milroe, right. Give us Geno. No, we already got Fields. Never mind.
Yeah. I'm not interested in either of those trades. Okay, so Landon Jackson still there. Kenneth Grant still there.
I got no
That's
problem
a
taking
nice
Grant
consolation prize.
That's absolutely fine. What's the best receiver or corner? I guess we pick sort of soon now.
Yeah, we have picks now at 63 and 80, 63, 83 coming up.
Just grab Grant because he's the best player on the field.
He is the best player available.
Yeah.
Looking here at wide receiver, you got Matthew Golden, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Royals, Ricky White, Torrey Holt. There's some guys there, I think.
Yeah, they'll be there 10 picks from now or whatever.
Defensively, cornerback, you're looking at Darian Porter from Iowa State, Davison Igbikison from Ohio State, Denzel Burke from Ohio State, Dorian Strong, Dalen Everett, Azaria Thomas.
I think you take Grant.
I think you take Grant.
Yeah.
Plus, you don't then have to pay on the open market for a big dude.
Right. I mean, Benton, if Ogunjobi's here or not, goes to that role.
Yeah.
Grant immediately inserts there. Doesn't play on passing downs. You don't need him to anyways.
Now, there's another guy there that I'm interested in at the defensive
For this
tackle.
third pick? Or before you didn't put the Grant pick in yet?
I have not yet.
Okay.
So Omar Norman Lott is there from Tennessee.
Yeah, you mentioned him yesterday.
Now, he's an end.
He's more of an end. Yeah.
But Grant, I think, gives you
I think
the
they
best.
need the size.
Yeah. I'm with you. You got pushed around a little bit more than a little bit in the Ravens game. Not going to happen with Kenneth Grant on the field.
Just the conference or division you play in. And
Yeah.
The need of the D-line. I think it's better for Benton, too.
Okay, Denzel Burke just went. Okay, we're up again. And New England is calling. They're offering pick 68 in next year's fourth for pick 63 and 246.
That's fine.
Fourth is okay, but
They're bad. I like future picks from bad teams.
yeah, but I'm going to reject
Yeah.
all that. We're going to make the pick because it's better. So Omar Norman Lott is still there. When we
I
doubled
love making strengths extreme strengths and just having the best D-line ever. You know what I mean? Like
I'll tell you, none of the cornerbacks, like
the
super
receivers are what
excitement.
appeal to me, though.
The receiver would be something that I'd have to look at. Matthew Golden is still there. Jaden Higgins is still there. Jalen Royals is still there.
I like Royals, too.
I like me some Jalen
He can
Royals.
slide.
Yeah.
I prefer Golden, though. And I'm flat out pillaging this from Mel Kiper. I was listening to their podcast this morning. I guess tomorrow his mock's coming out. And he basically said he absolutely thinks Golden's going in the first round. That he's a hot commodity right now. I was also listening to McShay's podcast. Said Golden's the names no one's talking about as a mid to late first round pick.
See, I think Jalen Royals could go if he works out the combine and runs a 4.3.
He's around the 4.3.
Yeah.
How big is he?
Like 6'1".
I'd say he's not.
He's a track guy.
Yeah.
But he catches everything.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say he's a track guy, he also high jumps 6'4".
I know.
Like
I
this
know.
is a
He's
guy who's
monster.
all kinds of athleticism.
How long do we have to our next pick?
We go again at 83.
Either's cool with me.
We probably need a receiver.
I would say I meant either receiver was cool with me. Now the next one could be whatever you want. I mean, if they're the best defensive linemen on the board, Tennessee dude, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you probably have signed a corner at this point.
Let me just look too here at the Mukuba is still there as well. The safety is available. Kevin Winston Jr. From Penn State. He's a highly touted guy. I don't know that he's played enough that I want to.
I wouldn't pick him over the receivers.
Yeah. Mukuba is still there. Jalen Reed, the other safety from Penn State, is there. Rod Moore, Sebastian Castro, Malachi Moore, Lathan Ransom.
It sounds like there's some defensive backs that have a chance to fall. Ransom.
Yeah.
You know. Which
Probably,
receiver do you prefer?
I like them both. I don't know how realistic it is that Golden is going to be there at 63.
Right. I think if it's Wilson, you definitely take the speedster. If it's Fields, I don't think it matters either way.
Yeah. All right, we'll take Golden.
Either's cool. Yeah.
We'll take Golden.
Okay.
Now, we got to start thinking running back here, too, at some point.
We took one the first round.
Oh, yeah. What am I thinking?
Yeah, we're good there, dude.
My brain checked out.
Corner's the biggest need.
Corner, a defensive back.
Even with a trade down, though, we're not going to fill every need.
That might be something that you have to fill in free agency.
Yeah, that's a whole nother segment, but there's 6 or 7 names that should be $12 million to $16 million that I would be very interested in free agency. Yeah.
I also want to see what Corey Trice can be as a,
Yeah.
He's not a throwaway. All right, we got the Minnesota's on the phone. They want to give us pick 97 and 139 for 83 and 246.
I don't think trading down in the mid rounds.
Yeah, I'm going to reject that.
Yeah.
All right, top players available regardless of position. The edge rusher out of BC.
Oh, he's not going to be there.
Dorian Strong, the cornerback out of Virginia Tech. He's a big guy.
Yeah, that's appealing.
David Walker, edge rusher out of Central Arkansas.
Edge rushers are great, and there are going to be a lot of them. I just can't imagine using a pick on one.
Ashton Gillott, the edge rusher out of Louisville. Holland Pierce, offensive tackle from Rutgers. DJ Giddens, running back from K-State. Elijah Araujo, tight end from Miami. It's a pass-catching tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Reed, safety out of Penn State. Jabbar Muhammad, cornerback out of Oregon. Shamar Turner, defensive tackle from Texas A&M. He's more of a nose, though, too.
Okay.
I believe.
I think so.
I'm thinking of the right guy there. 6'4", 300.
I know they have 3 that are going to be picked. The other guys are more endish.
Gray Zabel is there, the offensive tackle out of North Dakota State. Will Howard.
Interesting.
We haven't taken a quarterback.
What quarterbacks are there?
I think Howard's the best of the group, but let me take a look here and who else is available. So Howard, Quinn Ewers, Curtis Rourke, Dylan Gabriel, Kyle McCord, Brady Cook from Missouri. He's kind of interesting.
McCord's another one Kuiper was alluding to is going to go a lot higher than people think. Like a round 2 type guy.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about him. I know that Ohio State fans hate him.
Pure pocket passer.
Yeah, I don't think if we went with Fields, I don't want a pure pocket passer as his backup.
I don't have a problem with going with Will Howard.
I don't either. Spot. I was also thinking the VTech corner.
He would be attractive.
I mean, he's high on the list, and corners are
massive. He's 6'1", 185. He would.
Mm-hmm. That's fine.
Yeah,
probably get to 190 in a year or whatever. He's never going to be huge. That would be my vote, but I don't mind the Ohio State dude either.
All right, we'll take him. Cornerback it is, Dorian Strong from Virginia Tech. Now, we don't have another pick until 162.
That was a gap, right?
We got 162, 165, and 226. No, we have one at 121. I'm sorry. We didn't trade that away. It doesn't show. It shows you your next pick over to the left. It doesn't show you. Then it has your other picks remaining over on the other side. So makes it a little difficult.
A deep tight end draft.
Yeah.
And there could be someone of interest there. I know it's a terrible place to shop for tackles, but I love getting a developmental tackle that could be maybe your swing guy as a rookie. Another back seems crazy after using a first-round pick on one, but in the 7th round, I'd consider it.
Yeah,
especially if he's a kick returner.
You're not going to ask for your first-round draft pick to return kicks.
Right.
Dallas is on the phone. Dallas wants to offer picks 149, 169, 187 for pick 121. Jerry, get out of here.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah. All right, so top players available. Bashil Tutin, running back out of Virginia Tech. Anthony Belton, offensive tackle, NC State.
I don't know much about him, but a tackle here, if he's high on the board, would be appealing to me.
Lander Barton, linebacker out of Utah. Phil Maffa, running back out of Clemson. Charles Grant, offensive tackle out of William & Mary.
Charles Grants. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I definitely like that.
Jordan Phillips, a defensive tackle out of Maryland.
I actually have heard good things about Charles Grant, number 2. It's just small schools why he's this low right now.
Yeah. Well, you got to think that Mike Tomlin might know a little bit about the William & Mary guy.
Yeah, it sent things going off in my head like crazy with him too. Because supposedly he's a really good athlete. You drafted tackles in the top 2 rounds. I mean, he could basically redshirt this year.
And maybe as a guard down the road.
Maybe, right. I don't know. I would be very appealing. I think that's appealing.
Yeah. The top quarterback available is Kyle McCord.
Okay.
So,
but if he's only a pocket passer, I don't think that's the Fields backup that I want.
You want to take Charles Grant?
Oh, yeah. Two Charles Grants?
Two Charles
You know
Grants.
how
They can
happy
room
that makes
together.
me?
That would really mess
You know
people
how
up.
happy that would make me? We're going to line those guys up for the first rep of camp. Oh, yeah.
Grant,
So
you're going against
fun,
each
right.
other.
Yeah, he's so great. Yeah. You know those things tickle me to no end.
Oh, I know. Hey, Taylor Swift.
Right. No, but I think that's a decent pick either way.
All right, so thus far then we have gotten Amarian Hampton at pick 31, Kenneth Grant, pick 52, Matthew Golden, pick 63, Dorian Strong, this cornerback out of Virginia Tech at 83, and then Charles Grant, not the guy out of not the defensive tackle from Michigan,
Right.
but instead the offensive tackle from William and Mary.
I'm good. I like it.
Big guys.
Slot safety special teamer would be something to look at. Tight end I'd consider. Dart throw quarterback doesn't sound crazy. I mean, right now, how many quarterbacks are being at camp as of this draft? It sounds like 2.
Yeah.
One of them's Thompson Robinson or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, right, yeah. Not
All
Thompson
right.
Robinson.
Kyle McGonigal, running back out of Rutgers, Raheem Sanders, running back out of South Carolina, Jordan James, running back out of Oregon.
There's a lot of them, yeah.
Marcus Mabau, offensive tackle from Purdue. Yaha Black, defensive tackle.
Mabau's still there?
Yeah.
Some people think of him as a first-round pick.
I've seen a lot of guard stuff with him.
Yeah, I know.
I haven't watched him yet.
Yeah.
But, Ollie Gordon, running back out of Oklahoma State.
Sharky's still there, too.
RJ Harvey, running back out of UCF. Danny Stutzman, linebacker from Oklahoma.
See, like if we hadn't gone running back in the first round, if we'd taken corner or whatever, a lot of these dudes are pretty appealing.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this neighborhood.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean,
no
it's
doubt.
a crazy draft for those guys. Take 2 of them in the 5th and 6th round.
I'm just looking here. Ephesians Prysock, cornerback out of Washington.
Okay.
Have you seen that name yet?
No.
Because he is 6'4", 190.
I know
cornerback.
we took one, but I don't care. You can never have too many. I would never
He is
say
a
no to
definite
corner.
outside cornerback.
That's what they like.
I'm just looking here.
A defensive back here makes some sense to me, of any shape
I just
or
don't
size.
know that we're going to get that in this draft.
Mm-hmm. The safety that can play.
Zoff Frazier is there, the cornerback from UTSA, who at the Shrine Bowl, the guy we just talked about.
I mean, we took one recently, but another corner just to throw a lot at the fans, see what sticks.
I want to look at defensive tackles again. Wouldn't bother me to double down at that position. I don't want another nose.
No, I don't need any other huge guys.
Yeah. Nothing
Tight
there.
end is also of interest.
Nothing there that's super interesting to me.
I mean, I don't think Pruitt will be back. You're going to keep 4. Hayward might only be a special teamer at this point.
So you got Jake Bringenstool. Brings his own stool to the equation. Bringing the stool. He's from Clemson. Gavin Bartholomew from Pitt.
Bartholomew's a kind of a fit, too. He's a tough guy, in-line dude.
Yeah. Jalen Conyers from Texas Tech. Thomas Fedone from Nebraska. Drake Dabney from TCU. Jermaine Terry from Oregon State. Cole Taylor from West Virginia. Mitchell Evans from Notre Dame.
Bartholomew's the one I know and I wouldn't have a problem with.
Yeah. Bryson Nesbitt from North Carolina is kind of interesting to me.
Tight end?
Yeah. Now,
okay.
Last year, he caught a ton of passes because, well, they had a good quarterback. This year,
Downs was gone.
Yeah, this year, not so much, but more of a pass-catching tight end. I think he's more of the 7th-round guy, though.
Okay. That's a name to know, though.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't love any of this, really, to be honest with you.
Who's best available regardless of position?
Regardless of position? Not much.
Nobody's blowing your doors off, huh?
It's all running backs.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to take another running back at this
Dallas
point?
want to trade up with us?
Maybe so. Maybe you take Marcus Mabau.
Oh, I would. Yeah, I think that's a mistake from what I've learned a little bit about him.
Well, I'm saying R.J. Harvey's still there too. Like, again, some of those guys may fall. But Jalen Noel from wide receiver from Iowa State. You doubled out the wide receiver position in this one?
What's his profile? What's he do?
He has an explosive release and stride.
Okay.
Improving route running, should be a day 2 pick in the draft. According to this, had 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns this season.
I wouldn't object to just bringing another receiver.
Add another receiver to the mix.
Okay.
Let's do that. All right. 2 receivers. Why
That's not terrible, right. Trade it down, you get a little bonus prize. So now we just have 7th rounders.
We got, we got
We gotta do a better job of trading
226 remaining, 226 and 246 remaining here. So going to take us a little while to get there, but this thing paused on me here. What's going on here?
I'd consider any position at this point, but some of the special teams stands out.
We're up now. Did I not make that pick? I thought I did. That's bad radio.
Yeah.
That's
all right. We won't lose any listeners over that.
No, of course not. No, we're actually up again here. I didn't realize we traded for that pick. So we are up again here. And
I'm sure it's not real fruitful of what's.
No, it's not. It's not a great. I'm just looking here at safeties. Yuck. Cornerback. Well, Ephesians Prysock is still there. The 6'4" corner.
Yeah, take him.
Why not?
Right.
We like big corners.
Yeah, he might practice squatted all year or whatever, but have a rookie year like Trice or something like that. Might be happy about him.
6'4" corner.
Yeah, I'm in.
Land of the Giants in that cornerback room.
That's what you're looking for. That's exactly their profile, right?
I don't know if any of them can play the slot. Probably not, but that's.
You can find those guys too.
Yeah,
right.
You got Beanie Bishop for
now, right? There'll be competition for him too. There's no question in my mind.
Yeah. All right, we're cruising down here now. We got 2 picks left, and pick 226 coming up here. I should have speeded this up a little bit.
This could be running back land.
I would take a second running back here if there was somebody that was, again.
He could be smaller. He could be. Doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
I mean, these are guys who are going to get the 5th round grades in the 7th round.
But I think, one of the things, to your point, what you want to do, if it is Fields, is you want to continue to build your defense.
Oh, yeah.
Keep that very strong.
Put it out of my mind. You need a big play defense that can get off the field.
Yeah.
Another D lineman wouldn't break my heart. I mean, at this point, if there's an edge you like, there's nothing to shy away from. Inside linebacker.
So the top guys available. Glendon Miller, safety out of Maryland.
Oh, I think
not
you do
Glenn
it right.
Miller, yeah, but Glenn Dunn.
All right.
You got Javari Ritzy, defensive tackle from North Carolina. I'm just looking here to see if there's anybody that. Mario Anderson Jr., running back out of Memphis, 5'8", 206.
I don't know much about him, but okay.
I do know that the Memphis running backs
they've always done well.
Always done well. Here's one guy that is kind of interesting to me, and that's J.J. Pegas from Ole Miss.
Running back?
No, defensive tackle.
Oh.
He's more of a long.
Oh, okay. I have no problem
taking a
compete with like Logan Lee, louder milk replacement type.
Yeah.
Probably practice
another end to throw into the mix.
I'd say him or the safety that's at the top of the board. Either one of those.
We took Pegas. We'll see about what happens here at the last pick here we got coming up. At 246, we're getting close here, and we're up.
All right.
Top guys available: Aiden Huntington from Tulane, defensive tackle; Tyler Batty, edge rusher out of BYU; Nash Hutmacher, defensive tackle from Nebraska;
fun name;
LaQuint Allen, running back out of Syracuse.
Oh, he's a good receiver. I think that's a nice pick too.
Yeah. All right. There it is.
Yep.
LaQuint Allen.
No, he's kind of like a Tyrone Tracy type.
Yeah.
Kick return possibilities.
Why not?
I'm cool with that.
We had some extra picks there. We used them.
Yeah. We doubled down on a couple positions.
Absolutely. There's
2
nothing
running
wrong
backs,
with that.
2 corners, 2 D line.
All right. So we ended up with Amarian Hampton, running back out of North Carolina at pick 31. At pick 52, we took Kenneth Grant. Pick 63, Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas. 83 was Dorian Strong, cornerback out of Virginia Tech. 121 was Charles Grant, the offensive tackle, might be a guard, from William & Mary. At 162, we took Jalen Noel, the wide receiver from Iowa State. 165, Ephesians Prysock. Boy, I'd have to learn how to spell that one. At 165, cornerback out of Washington. 226, we took J.J. Pegas, defensive lineman out of Ole Miss, so we doubled down on defensive line there, but they're different. One's an edge, one's a nose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then LaQuint Allen, the running back out of Syracuse at 246.
Cool. Okay.
There we go.
I like the trade down.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. You get more.
Yeah,
Give me more.
Give me more.
Absolutely. Anyways, let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. This is The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with more right after this. Welcome back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Matt, Pro Football Focus has their top 75 players set to enter free agency list out there. And it's interesting because I don't know that it necessarily matches up to some of the beliefs that Steeler fans have.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. I was looking through it today. I was mostly interested in what they projected for contracts.
Yeah.
And some positions that I think will be interesting to the Steelers. And there's some Steelers on there that are set to make a pretty good buck.
Several, in fact.
I mean, yeah, quite a few. And I don't think many of them will be back, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So it led me to think this might be a year where you don't want to spend a ton of money in free agency unless you're signing guys who were cut by somebody else.
For comp reasons you're talking about, right. Try to work that angle.
Yeah.
Yes and no, because I do think they will, when it's all said and done, have a lot to spend. And their draft capital is good, not great. You want to get better, and I think free agency is more of an avenue this year than most in terms of your resources. I love the comp game. But to your point, if it's Devontae Adams versus Godwin and they want the same amount of money and Adams got cut and Godwin didn't, well, give me Adams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I would definitely take that into consideration because on this list of the top 75 free agents, these are the guys that are probably going to get the bigger contracts.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Are Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, both quarterbacks
on
this list.
Both quarterbacks are on both 75. Are on the 75.
Also on this list is Najee Harris.
Mm-hmm.
And also
on
this
list, he's
going
to make 11-ish.
James Daniels.
Yep, he graded really well for them. They're big James Daniels fans.
And Dan Moore.
Mm-hmm. That's a pretty good pile of contracts that could be leaving town. Now, probably one of those quarterbacks isn't in the mix of leavers, guys that are taken out. And there's also the Landon Roberts of the world and guys like that. Whether you bring them back or not, they're going to add up. Mike Williams, guys like that too. The other thing that I've been thinking about too, and it goes back to kind of the Metcalf conversation we started the show with, some of those Steeler 3 7th-round picks, you could basically trade for a player that someone's going to dump.
Right.
Because you have cap space and they don't.
You're just flipping them.
I mean,
and they got 1 year left on their deal, and you're just taking them off their hands.
You're right. Like, we're either going to cut this guy because we're the Saints and we have no money, or you guys can eat the contract and you'll get a much better player than a 7th-round pick.
You're just going to have to pay whatever's left on that deal.
Yeah. I mean, you're basically trading a 7th-round pick for cap space.
Yeah.
But you get a good player.
Right.
And those deals happen all the time in the league. I could see the Steelers making a move or two like that.
Yeah,
you're not going to get Tyreek Hill for a 7th-round pick.
No,
but right. But you could get quality players.
Yeah, the interesting thing about, again, I mentioned this is the top 75.
Mm-hmm. And they go pretty quick.
Yeah.
A couple of those guys get franchised. A couple won't even hit free agency to begin with, same as always.
But, I think if you can get some comp picks back, if you don't spend like crazy and these guys get good contracts out of it, whatever, you're going to be all right.
It'd be nice to pick up thirds in the future,
or even a fifth, an extra fifth, or whatever it may be.
Oh, yeah. Those things are valuable, right.
I heard somebody mentioned today, Najee Harris was a wasted draft pick by the Steelers.
They gave him the ball like 8,000 times.
He had 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. You're going to, and because they didn't pick up his 5th-year option, you're going to say that's a bust? That's not how this works anymore.
Bust at all, right. If you want to fight about should you take running backs or not, we've had that conversation.
This is what I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
So people think
something's been on Dale's mind since the first segment.
And I couldn't think of what it was. This was it.
Racking his brain over there, and the alarm just went off. Here we go. Ding, ding, ding.
So when the 5th-year option was first a thing.
Yes.
And players were paid. the first 10 picks got the big money.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, everybody was slotted in picks.
Yeah.
Picks 11 through 32 were kind of slotted in.
When fifth-year options were new.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they didn't make massive amounts of money. Everybody picked up the option.
It was very team-friendly.
It was very team-friendly for teams to pick up the option on that fifth year if your guy was drafted outside the top 10. If your guy was drafted inside the top 10, it was not as friendly because they got comparable, they got basically the transition tag for their position.
And, of course, there's a lot of quarterbacks and tackles and hard-to-find positions in the top 10.
So you had to really, you had to be a star.
Yeah.
With the new CBA, they changed that rule.
Big time.
In a big way, because if you do things
based on
like
what you did,
if you did things like make a Pro Bowl, now you're getting that transition tag.
It's not hard to make a Pro Bowl.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's an accomplishment. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But a lot of guys get a Pro Bowl.
Or if you've been a starter, you get this. You're paying these guys at a much higher level now than what you would have paid them before because the fact that you drafted them in the first round.
Yes.
So now, not as many first-round draft picks are getting that fifth-year option picked up.
Across the league. This is a Steeler thing, and it's maybe 33% of what it used to be.
It's gone way down.
Way down.
Way down in the last few years because of this new CBA. But I still hear people say, well, such and such team didn't pick up his fifth-year option, so they must not have liked him. No, that's not the case.
It's not the case. And I also think it's a flawed system of the day you have to make that decision. Because the day you make that decision, you're guaranteeing them X amount, whatever the
2 years from now.
2 years from now.
So you're essentially guaranteeing the final 2 years of their contract.
Right. And Najee in particular has been remarkably reliable and durable. They're two of his best traits. But he's a running back that had a lot of damage. You're going to guarantee those 2 years when you're giving him the ball that much?
He also made the Pro Bowl after his rookie year.
So he's more expensive.
So he's more expensive.
Yeah.
So you're not going to pick up that fifth-year option.
He would have to be one of the best backs in the league to really make that any sense.
He'd have to be Saquon Barkley to want to do that.
Right. And if he misses time, you still lose.
Right.
I mean, the guaranteed part of it that early in the process is flawed to me. I don't understand why they think that's smart.
Yeah. So maybe this is something that gets changed in the next CBA when they find out this doesn't work.
Yeah, this whole idea of the system is bad.
It could be as well that the guys who end up getting drafted in the first round like this because they get to become free agents
Well, I think
sooner.
the players like it.
Yeah.
They don't want to be the fifth-year option picked up. It's not terrible, but it's
realistically, I mean, you watch when the numbers come out for this year's class on who gets their fifth-year option picked up and who doesn't. It's going to be about a third of the first round.
Yeah. I would say I think it's usually like 9 to 12 guys the last year or two out of 32.
Because of the way they changed the rules. But people are still looking at this like it's the old rules that were much more team-friendly. And that's not the case.
That's not the case, right. And frankly, like, was it who was it that traded up into the first round to take a receiver this year? The Bills went from like 29 to 30. Oh, the Panthers to get Leggett. I'm like, that's dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, they almost did it. I felt like because all those receivers went together. It was Pearsall and Leggett and McConkey, and they were all available. And unless they loved Leggett so much more than those other dudes that they had to have him, it makes no sense to give something up to go up 3 picks just to get the fifth-year option. And frankly, the Panthers are one of the dumbest teams in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure the Bills are like, I'll gladly move down 3 spots. I don't care about the fifth-year option. It's not as valuable as it used to be on draft day.
So so for example, this is the 2022 first-round draft class.
Okay.
So these are the guys who are going to have their options picked up this year.
The decision time comes. When is the date again? I remember I hate when the date is. It is basically 2 years from now. Is it May or something
it's
like
May.
that?
Yeah, it's after the draft.
Yeah, I know it's after the draft.
So Trayvon Walker was the first overall pick in the draft. He gets a play time. The way this is, you have the basic option, the playtime option, which is based on how much you've played. If you've been a starter over, I think, 50% of the time, you get you have to average 3rd to 20th highest salaries. So the playtime option is the 3rd to 20th highest paid salaries at their position over the last 5 seasons, provided their snap count meets 75% or greater over 2 of their first 3 seasons, an average of 75% or greater over all 3 seasons, or 50% or greater over all 3 seasons.
Which I know is a little hard to follow, but that means he played a lot.
Yeah, he's probably played over 500 snaps per year.
Right.
$16 million
For Trayvon Walker.
For Trayvon Walker. Aiden Hutchinson, because he's made one Pro Bowl.
I'd say Walker has not made a Pro Bowl and won't by the time this comes around because that's done.
Too late. $22.6 million for Aiden Hutchinson.
That's a yes. I don't
pick
know
up the
if
fifth-year
Walker's
option.
a yes or not.
Derek Stingley has made a Pro Bowl, $17.2 million.
This is big money. I mean, like
Sauce Gardner.
Those guys are yeses.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But the difference between that and just the basic, for Stingley, for example,
and probably the same for Sauce. He made a Pro Bowl.
It's $11.7 million compared to $17.2. It's a significant amount of money.
Big chunk, yeah.
Gardner's $20.4 million, basically.
Why is he more than Stingley?
Because he's made multiple Pro Bowls.
Oh, multiple. I forgot that's a thing.
He gets the highest level of that. So if you look at, for example, Kenny Pickett, the Steelers would have been making a decision on Kenny Pickett this year. The basic play level for him, because he didn't play as the snap total in his rookie year, and he didn't get there obviously this past year.
Right.
So for Philadelphia to pick up the fifth-year option would be $20.7 million.
Right. I mean, there's no chance that they will.
Had he stayed with the Steelers and not made a Pro Bowl, it would have been $23.8 million.
So here's a weird question you might not be able to figure out, but let's say he was great and you loved him and you didn't trade him and Russell Wilson never existed. The pick worked out and he's your franchise quarterback. Do you know what that would have cost? Would it have been the same as Sauce? I guess it depends.
Well, if he made a Pro Bowl, I was going to get to that. Yes. You're jumping ahead too much here. If he would have made a Pro Bowl, one.
Right, which means you have to beat out Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, blah, blah, blah,
$35.26 million.
Okay.
If he makes two Pro Bowls, multiple Pro Bowls, it's $41.3 million.
But if he was awesome, you're happy about it.
Right. If he's awesome, you're happy. But there's no delineation here like there used to be past those top 10 picks where you just got slotted in wherever you were picked at and you just made $150,000 more than the guy who was picked ahead of you.
Right.
Now it becomes much more.
And some positions are easier to go to Pro Bowls than others.
Yeah.
Right. It's easier to go as a corner than a quarterback.
Tyler Linderbaum, for example.
He's going to be expensive.
The Ravens have to pick up Tyler Linderbaum's first-round tender. Well, for offensive linemen...
That's just linemen, right?
It's just offensive linemen. So Tyler Linderbaum, to pick up his fifth-year option for the Ravens, $25.15 million for a center.
For a center, right.
They
love.
They're not picking that up.
And he's a successful pick.
They're not picking that up.
They're not picking that up.
They'll try to work out another deal with him.
a deal with the extension. Right. And but they could not pick it up and then franchise him. But that's still O-line money.
It's going to be more than $25 million.
Even more than that because it's tackle money, right?
Yeah. It's the system is broken.
Yeah, the system's screwed up. They made a good pick.
They also had Kyle Hamilton in the first round that year. He's a safety.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
he made Pro Bowls.
His fifth-year option is $19.6 million.
They probably pick it up, but that's an ouchie.
So to pick up both of those options, it would cost them over $40 million. They're not picking them both up.
No. And they're
doesn't
also
mean they don't love the player.
Or that it was a bad pick or it was a bust or whatever. They're perfect examples, even more so than Najee.
Right.
These were great picks.
You hit on those picks. They're the only three guys between
that's the thing.
Sauce Gardner, Kyle Hamilton, and Tyler Linderbaum are the only three guys from that first round who have made multiple Pro Bowls.
But you can get safeties. I mean, like corner's an expensive position. Safeties and centers aren't.
Yeah.
It's one of the arguments why you don't take
Tyler Smith, who was taken one pick ahead of Linderbaum in that same draft, and has been a good player, has made a Pro Bowl. You could make the argument he's been a better player than Linderbaum.
Right.
He's $22.7 million because he's only made one Pro Bowl.
Which is easier to palate.
Yeah.
But still, it's a lot for guard. They probably will do it.
So, folks, when you're talking about the fifth-year option and teams not picking it up, it's different than it used to be.
Massively. Okay. That's interesting. I was curious about Pickett just as a mid-round quarterback that hits because maybe the Steelers will have one next year, whatever. What's that going to
You're almost better off taking cheaper positions in the first round so you can pick up that fifth-year option on them as opposed to taking a premium.
Well, then you get in the problem that Baltimore's having with a safety and center, that they're too expensive. But
if you have two first-round draft picks, If you don't have two first-round draft picks.
But they wouldn't probably pick up Linderbaum either way.
It's the same argument I had last year with people when I said you don't take a center in the first round because of this.
Because of this,
you're not going to pay a center $25.1 million.
Oh, I think we're saying the same thing. I thought you were saying the opposite stance.
No.
So I'm like, no, right. Taking a center in the first round is bad because wait until Frazier, Creed Humphrey.
Even taking a guard in the first round is kind of like, what are you doing?
The fact that the NFL puts all offensive linemen together for franchise tags and stuff and this type of thing is so dumb.
Yeah. It's the same thing with linebackers. Whether you're an edge rusher or linebackers, you're the same thing.
They're
so you
polar opposite.
You get the price for a linebacker, whereas
they need different position designations.
Like there is no designation here for defensive end. It's either there were no defensive
D-line or linebacker.
There were no defensive tackles taken in the first round that year, so they're all
Okay, that's a weird year then.
Yeah. Or no, Deontay Wyatt was the only one. He was the first guy, and he's $13 million as opposed to George Karlaftis.
I think Jordan Davis went in the first round that year too.
Yeah.
Both Georgia guys.
Where's he at? Yeah. Okay. So defensive tackle is 11.46 and that's just the basic because he hasn't made a Pro Bowl, as opposed to it would be 12.6 or 18.995 if he had made a Pro Bowl.
So like when Jalen Carter's up a year from now with them, he's going to be 18. Which for him
could
is
be
worth
more
it.
than that. He might be multiple Pro Bowls by then, and then you're looking at way more than what this is now. Where would he go? He would be 20.
It'd be like Sauceland.
Yeah, you're talking $23.4 million. It's different. It's not
different,
what it used to be, folks. It's just not.
These are big bites.
A lot of these guys are not going to have their fifth-year option picked up.
No, I bet there's 10-ish.
Yeah.
Some of those guys at the beginning will, Hutchinson and Stingley.
It's another reason why, not to go too far down the rabbit hole in this, but it's another reason why some of these guys are getting traded before that fifth-year option becomes an option.
Absolutely. I don't want to
let somebody else deal with that because I want to get something for the guy now.
Because by the way, you could pick up Sauce and then he could blow out his knee.
Yeah.
I mean, because again, you're guaranteeing 2 years down the road, which is dumb.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get to a break. We're overdue for that. He is Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back to finish up the show right after this. Welcome back. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And just some news and notes from around the league here, Matt. Kevin O'Connell gets a multi-year extension with the Vikings.
I think he's done a bang-up job.
0-2 in the playoffs.
As I say, but he's going to start hearing that real soon. It's a crazy league.
Won a lot of games. But
a lot of coaching news, a lot of rumors,
Yeah, the Colts have officially hired Lou Anarumo as their new DC.
Okay. I like that move for them. I think that's exactly what I would have done.
Ben Johnson officially in with the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, and it sounds like the most recent Saints head coaches are likely to be the DC and special teams coordinator for them.
Yeah, so they're going the veteran route. Looks like Josh McDaniel is going to return to New England as offensive coordinator with Vrabel.
Really?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. I mean, with Vrabel, I guess that adds up. Yeah.
Yeah. Brian Schottenheimer is going to interview with the Cowboys for their head coaching position.
For their head job. Okay.
How about that?
Yikes. The big one is Glenn is in New York with the Jets right now. And Schefter and those guys are like, they're not going to let him leave without a contract. So maybe we get that news next.
The Buccaneers also feel like Liam Cohen is going to get offered the Jaguars job.
There was 3 of them that they tried for a second interview. He's the only offensive-minded one. It seems like that's going to be the choice for the Jags. That's hard on the Bucs, though. You lose an offensive coordinator
2 years
to a
in a row.
head guy 2 years in a row. The chances you're going to hire the next one, hit 3 in a row as a hire is pretty slim.
Yeah.
That hurts the Bucs bad.
It does, absolutely. So we'll continue to see what happens here with some of these changes that take place and guys moving around in the league. But
there's probably a couple things between now and tomorrow.
That was one of the things that people talked about with Detroit, that, they were able to keep both of their coordinators. Well, maybe not this year.
But they'll definitely lost one, and Glenn's a hot ticket because I know the Saints are heavily after him, too. That's why the Jets want to lock the doors on him.
Yeah, so.
And we'll see if Campbell can overcome that. He's not a schemer.
No, he is biting a kneecap.
Right. Raw guy, I think they could take a step back,
They got some former Steelers on that staff. Maybe one of them will get elevated.
Yeah, I wonder if Randall L. or one of those guys gets a bump. Yeah. They got a lot of former players on that team.
Absolutely, so we'll see where that goes. But, Matt, that's going to do it for the show today.
Good stuff.
Absolutely. For my partner, Matt Williamson, for Justin Miller here on site running the soundboard and the Justin Miller Hotline. Somebody needs to sponsor the Justin Miller Hotline.
Yeah.
Like the such and such Justin Miller Hotline would be has a nice ring
Listen
to it.
to it. Yeah, come on.
The Widgets.
Step up.
American Widgets Company, Justin Miller Hotline. For Tyler Vittmeyer out here running, making sure our
Miller
YouTube...
High Life should come out.
There you go. That's
and
right.
there should be a cooler of them right here all the time.
Tyler making sure our video gets up there on the YouTube. They should have the Tyler Vittmeyer YouTube section there.
Yeah.
And I am Dale Lolley. We thank you for listening to this edition of The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network.
Steelers football happens here. The Pittsburgh Steelers Audio Network.